Laura Richardson with Relevate. We are Real Estate Elevated, and we're coming at you again with another episode of I'm moving to North Carolina, now what? Today we're talking about local sports, specifically baseball, and I actually have the pleasure of interviewing Todd Lechner, who is on the board of North Wake's baseball program. So he's going to give us a little bit of background about who he is and why he even knows a little bit about the baseball league here, as well as the league itself. So we deal with a lot of families who are relocating here, who are trying to figure out where should they go for their kids' sports in lieu of schools and where they want to buy a house. So we'll talk a little bit about that today, as well as those of you who already live here in North Carolina, specifically the Triangle, and how to find a great program for your kid. So Todd, I'm going to turn it over to you for a little bit. So give us a little bit of backstory.
Sure.
What do you know about baseball?
Thanks, Laura. So like a lot of dads my age at this point, I played baseball when I was a kid. I started with T-ball, went to instructional, which was the coach pitch, and then I went to Little League, which was 8 to 12-year-olds. Yeah. And like a lot of guys that I know, Little League was amazing. It was one of the best times in my life, probably the best time in my life from a sports perspective. I played a lot of sports, but that is what I remember the most. And it kind of catapulted my love for the game of baseball. And now I have a son that plays, and I started coaching him in North Wake when he was 4 years old. And this is my sixth season coaching now. And, it all stemmed from the love of the game and just wanting to, help develop my son's abilities and then all of his teammates at the same time. So
you guys have a board that helps kind of keep this thing afloat and to keep the ship steered in one direction. So what's the board's experience with baseball as well? Do you have kind of a mixture of folks who played versus just know a lot about the game versus just have passion for the game?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we try to do is bring on board members that either have played baseball at a high level. We have guys that played in the majors that are on the board, guys that played in college. I didn't play in college because I played basketball in college instead, but I still played baseball after my collegiate career was over. So, and then I don't think there's anybody on the board that never played the game. So, and that's what we want, right? We want guys that know the game really well, but also are willing to, since this is a 100% volunteer position and we're a 501c3 not for profit, we need guys that are going to be dedicated at the same time and that have just a good head on their shoulders to be open about conversations and making decisions that are best for the league and that are willing to execute on either the ideas that they come up with or that we come up with as a board. So participation from our board members is really important too.
So let's talk about the fact that you guys are a nonprofit, because obviously a lot of people are probably very used to sports programs that are either a for-profit program or some kind of other organization where it's really focused on the money.
Sure.
So how does being a nonprofit allow you guys to have an advantage versus being some of those other types of organizations?
I think it allows us to develop the league the way that we want to develop it without having to answer to anybody else. It's really a collective membership of people that just really care about the league and making it the best for the kids. And again, it's all about the development of the boys and girls in their skill sets, their mechanics. Sports in general you learn a lot of great life lessons and things like that with it as well. So the control and being able to do what we want to do, that's probably the biggest advantage. The part of the disadvantage of being a nonprofit is funding, right? We have to have parent involvement to help us with fundraisers, to help us find sponsorships, because we can't do it all as a board. We're only a small group of people compared to 500 players in the league who's that's a large number of people that could really help the league catapult. In that community, also is an advantage of a nonprofit because everybody, not everybody, but we're getting there. People start to realize that, oh wow, this is like a family. They need our help. These guys are volunteering a lot of their time to help this league thrive, and they can't do it without us. So that it really does create a sense of community and family, and people become really close. And these kids end up could end up becoming and staying friends with the guys that they're playing with, or the kids that they're playing with for life, right? And we do have relationships like that today from guys that are even on the board that played in North Wake and played in the majors and played in college and came back to dedicate their time back to the league because of what it did for them when they were kids.
Well, and I think that's a powerful thing to be able to share with folks, because obviously if it wasn't a good experience, they would have gotten to the majors and said, okay, I'm going to plug in somewhere else where I'm going to get whatever I felt was missing.
Right.
I think that speaks to the growth opportunities that you guys have.
Right.
So you talked a little bit about sponsorship. So obviously, like, I'm chairman of the board of a local nonprofit, completely unrelated to sports, but it's the same idea of relying on sponsorships to keep the ship moving in the right direction.
Right.
So what opportunities can businesses kind of jump in on, or how do you guys even garner those relationships with local businesses to help support that?
Well, first and foremost, it comes, those relationships start from our own personal networks. Everybody has a different background in different networks of people that can help in different ways. So we definitely start with our networks to try and find people that want to get involved, sponsors that want to get involved. And from a sponsorship perspective, the advantage to our sponsors is that there are not only the 500 kids per season. So we have a spring season and a fall season. We have about 450 to 500 kids in the spring season, a little bit less in the fall because kids play other sports and they want to dedicate more time to those other sports than baseball then, but it's not that far off. But we also have a contract with USSSA, and they rent our fields from us in, I think it's 30 weekends a year, and they have tournaments, travel baseball tournaments. And we have select teams at North Wake and our kids participate in those tournaments as well. So you're talking about about 1,000 people potentially per weekend that are eating in our restaurants in Wake Forest, that are going to shopping at our retail outlets and things like that. So that's a great opportunity for sponsors to get involved, to get their names out there, to let these people know that they exist, and that you can go to their establishments for if you need something last minute for your kid that you forgot that he needs to play baseball, or you got to get something to eat in between games and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of eyes on our sponsors on a regular basis, Monday through actually Sunday to Sunday for the most part, because our regular season goes from Monday to Thursday, and then the tournaments are we have practices on Fridays, and then the tournaments are on Saturdays and Sundays.
Absolutely.
So it's just constant traffic.
Yeah, and constant exposure. So for any small businesses listening, this would be a great opportunity for you to not only plug in to the local community, but also with the travel leagues, having people have somewhere to go. I mean, I know from playing soccer for so many years, when you travel, you want to figure out where is the easiest place to eat. And so if you're seeing that advertisement, that's an easy plug. I know there's lots of businesses that help sponsor the league, and they're all reputable. And I think that speaks to the nonprofit aspect. You're not tied to necessarily a sponsor that you don't want to be tied to. You have the option to work with businesses like and trust, and that's a value add.
Absolutely.
And I think that also speaks to the caliber of what they're trying to create. So leaning from the sponsorship aspect, let's talk about what the league provides to kids who maybe either want to test baseball or they want to really build a skill set that could take them to the next level. How do you guys accomplish that?
Sure. So we have several different leagues within the organization. So it starts with MCP, which stands for Modified Coach Pitch, and that's 4 to 6 year olds.
Okay.
And then we go to Rookie, which is 7 and 8 year olds, and then Minor, which starts in starts kid pitch, which is 9 and 10-year-olds, and then our majors, which are 11 and 12-year-olds. So you've got 4-year-olds, right, coming to the ballpark for the first time to learn baseball. So, and we take that really seriously. We want the kids to have a great experience, a lot of fun. That is the number one thing that we stress is fun. And, our coaches are volunteers, just like the board members are volunteers. So we've put some programs together to work with the coaches who may have never coached baseball before, but are willing to volunteer. Maybe they don't have a lot of baseball knowledge. So we run coaches clinics. We started a mentor program for, guys like me who are more tenured, who know baseball well, who I've coached in the league for 6 seasons now. So I'm a mentor for a coach in MCP this season, and then there are 10 other guys like me who also volunteered to be mentors to those newer guys that are coming into the league, or even guys that have been there for a couple of seasons but they're just not quite sure yet how to run a practice, or even where to find something in the facility, because it's a big organization that needs to be managed on a regular basis. So those kids. So we work with the coaches so that we know that they're teaching these kids the right skill sets that they can continue to develop until they eventually they age out after 12 years old. We do have an elite travel program for 13 and 14-year-olds as well, that really helps them then showcase everything that they've learned over the years in these local and regional tournaments and state tournaments where scouts from major leagues or colleges come to watch these kids. So we're, like I said, it's all about fun, and it's all about the development of the skill set. So that's what we do with the younger kids to make sure that they have a really good experience and keep them coming back year after year.
Well, and I think that shows the integrity of the program, that you are trying to get folks who maybe have the time or the ability to commit to coaching that don't necessarily have the background, or pulling in the people that do have the background and helping them kind of experience a different level of leadership by helping somebody else who needs that hands-on.
Absolutely, yeah.
So something that we deal with in our industry are relocations. There are tons of families moving every day to Wake County. So let's talk about not only the aspect of how to find you guys and get plugged in when they hear that it's the A+ caliber program, but also for the folks who already live here, where can you go and not go as far as location is concerned? What are the rules around where you guys focus versus somebody else?
Yeah, so we have an agreement right now. So West Raleigh is another baseball organization, youth baseball organization that we compete with. We, in a fun way, right? We send our select teams out to them and play against their select teams and even their regular season teams at times. But we have an agreement with them where we have boundaries, right? So they can only recruit. I don't want to say recruit. I guess recruit's a good word, but advertise to kids in certain zip codes. And then we have zip codes that we can't go past. So they have a pool of areas and zip codes that they can pull kids from, and then we do the same thing over here from since we're in Wake Forest. So it's regional where we can advertise to our players or potential players.
Gotcha. So if somebody's deciding on what location to live in, right, and they're trying to decide, okay, I need a really top-notch baseball program for our family to get plugged in, how do they connect with you guys to figure out what the timing needs to be for whether it's like some kind of tryout or signups and things like that? When are the go-to times of year that happens?
Sure. So we have, like I said, we have a spring and a fall season. So the spring season is about to end. It'll end on May 17th. And then registration for the fall season will open on June 12th. And then after the fall season is over, registration for the spring season opens in December, I believe. So you can go to North Wake County Baseball Association. That's our website. You can just Google that. I believe it's nwcba.com. and there is a registration link there. We have all of the information that you could possibly need to know about our seasons, our age groups, our divisions, when we start, when we stop. It's all on our website. And plus, in our About section is a list of myself and all the other board members, as well as we have a league admin who does a lot of stuff for us. You can reach directly to her, or they can reach directly out to me or any of the other board members. We're always happy to take a phone call, answer an email, or provide any type of information that anybody wants.
No, I think that's great. And guys, just so you know, all those details that he just mentioned will be in the footnotes of this episode. So that way you can reach out to Todd directly, as well as just check out the league. If you're looking to sponsor, he is also a great contact. So that way you guys can get plugged in for the next upcoming seasons. So moving forward with your growth of the league, is there something that you guys are aiming to kind of hit or do that you haven't done in the past?
We're always looking to get more kids to come to North Wake and play baseball. Our goal is to be the premier youth baseball organization in North Carolina. And just a little bit about the facility, we have 6 baseball fields at the facility, which is very unique. And not a lot of facilities can say that. A lot of facilities might just have 1 field or maybe 3, but 6. We have 6, which allows us to take on more and more kids each season. And in having 4 different divisions, it allows us to have 4 different divisions as well, because we have so many fields, and there aren't a lot of scheduling conflicts or anything like that, because we have the fields to accommodate all these kids. So we're going to start advertising in the local schools and other places where we can really get the word out about the organization, to try and get more kids and give them that true fun little league baseball experience that I had when I was a kid, that they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
No, I think that's great. And the facilities, guys, if you have not seen this on like a map or in person, are phenomenal. The design is great too, especially as a parent that has multiple kids, right? A lot of times I have to kind of bring the whole caravan to a practice, and it's nice that there's a playground in the middle of the facility. The concession area is right there, and it's all pretty boxed in. So it gives you an element of safety that I definitely can say from going to other facilities is not the same level. So having a teeny tiny human that might run into traffic, it's nice to know that there's a contained area for her. And then it's easy to actually maneuver around and to find everything. I think all of us have also had that experience where you've gone to a travel game and you can't find anything because it's more of a maze than otherwise. So top notch there. All right. Well, Todd, I really appreciate you just breaking all this down for us. I mean, guys, if you have not checked out a baseball program, this is definitely a great start and stop, I might mention. So we'll make sure that everybody can connect with you afterwards. But thank you so much for being here. Guys, I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate. Catch us next time on the next episode. All right, y'all, thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, share, and follow us on Instagram as well as YouTube. We're also on Apple Podcasts. Again, I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate.